So I'm going to wet the sky. Then I'm going to drop in the blue for where I see the blue of the sky, and then a little shadow color on the clouds. And like I said, I'm not going to worry about the sails on the windmills because they will be dark against light. So I'm putting this on in a kind of a haphazard way. If I tilt it so you can see the see how I've left dry areas. So now I dip the same brush in some blue, and so I'm going to go up here. Oh, that's real blue. Maybe a little more dilute. Although it will dry lighter. I'm using horizontal strokes down here. Now, I don't want to paint over the light side of this windmill. I'm going to use an extra brush. So the blue of the sky is lighter near the horizon. I can bring some of this blue down into the vegetation down here. Now this brush is wetter, so it may cause some blooms, but blooms can look a lot like clouds, so it's okay. Now I'm going to use a little bit of this shadow color that I mixed up. And clouds that are close to the horizon are usually very horizontal. Now the light's coming from here, so I want to keep that in mind in regard to the clouds. This is looking nice and dramatic. Might even use the same color for the top of this windmill. Okay, I like that. I like how that color runs into the cloud color here. Okay, well, I think I should leave it. This is one of those instances where the faster the better, and then just leave it alone. So, phew. So I'm seeing kind of a neutral color here, maybe a little raw sienna in there. The light is hitting this side. I may leave it white where it's light, and I can always glaze over it later. So this whole part is in shadow. So this is a cylinder, slightly cone-shaped cylinder with the light coming from this side. So there's a distinct edge to the shadow right here. And then shadows cast by these long poles. So I'll start with this raw sienna. I have a separate brush handy with just water on it to soften some of these edges. Now here's this shadow. And I'm not going to worry about these windows. I'll deal with those later. Get a little more of this Cobalt Scarlet combo. I have that on hand for a dark. So it's like a dull purpley color.
Doris, what could you use if you don't have Scarlet?
Use some Cad Red. Now here, this purpley color is wet. So again, I'm going to go in with green so I have a nice soft edge. I mixed a little of this raw sienna in with my purpley color, purpley mix. And I'm going to get it right in with that shadow. And while it's wet on this far side, I'm going to put a little of this raw sienna. See if this works. Yeah, I like that. Okay, I think I have a nice sense of light over here. I may put a little glaze on this roof, but I don't want it as dark as it is in the picture. I'm making little light blue stripes. Okay, here again, I'm going to put my foliage in while the building is wet, so it'll blur. And I'll suggest the top of the grasses by just pressing my brush halfway down, and I get those spiky little ends. I go like this, just halfway. And even though this is green up here near the top, it's catching all the light. So I'm not going to bring that green all the way up there.
Doris, could I ask a question?
Yes, you may.
We're talking about the green, and you said mixing it with different hues. Are you talking
Yeah,
about
I'll show
lifting,
you.
lighting, or?
Like with, you see all the different greens I have here?
Yeah.
So where I wanted it dark, I added a little of that, this purpley mixture I made. So I added a color, a hue from another, that I was already using.
Okay.
And then in the distance, I mixed it with some cobalt. So, so there this is green, sap green, straight sap green with just some water in it. Okay, so
Right.
that's my base color. And then here, I mixed with cobalt, so that's another green. And here I mixed it with that purpley color that was made of scarlet and cobalt blue. And then
Okay.
here I put in raw sienna, and that blended with the green. And then here, this is a very dull green, with those same mixes in there. And so that makes for interesting greens.
Yeah.
But if I went in to darken it, like here, with a stronger green, it would be just too punchy.
Too punchy.
So better to make it duller where it's darker
And how did you
than
get
thicker.
how did you get the grass effect with your, on the spiking grass?
Well,
effect?
I'm afraid I can't tell you, that's patented information.
Okay.
No, it's what I did was I went in with some raw sienna, I think along the bottom here, or mixed with little green. I went along here, and as I was working, I had a brush that was just wet. And so, oh, that's what I did. Excuse me. I started with just wetting this in a very kind of haphazard way. So I didn't wet the whole thing. So I just kind of went like that. So there are some dry white bits of paper here. So then I mix that raw sienna with this dull green I have in here
Mhm.
that's made of the other colors that I've been using. And so I would drop in where I saw in the picture, I saw where the grass was a little darker, like right here.
Right.
So I tried to create a few hard edges to set off these clumps of grasses.
Okay.
So, but what you want to avoid is just taking a brush dipped in green and going like this
Right.
to make all of your grasses. So anyway, so this was, that worked out well. So I may just leave it like that
No, it's nice. Yeah.
as I
Good.
proceed. And so what I'm looking forward to is putting this little reflection here, this little something going on, like weeds or something right along the edge. It's kind of greenish. Now I haven't done the water yet. So I might do that now. So you see here, there's a little bit of reflection up there. And so I'll try to capture that. But for the most part, I'm going with Cobalt. I'm going to wet it first. And then I think I'm going to leave this dry. That's pretty good. That kind of reflects the clouds a bit. And now while it's wet, I want to, first I'm going to slurp up what's here at the bottom so I don't get blooms. And then I'm going to suggest a little reflection, but I don't want to use too wet a brush. I remove the excess water. Just putting a little cerulean blue on these sails before I put the darker color on. So I'm not, even though they look black, I'm not going to go that dark. I can always go darker. Because this sail is at an angle, it almost looks more gray than seeing little lines. So I'm just going to make this gray. And I think that reads pretty well. And maybe over here, I'll just try dragging a little bit of this wet color down to make lines. Keep it simple. While the cerulean blue was wet, I dropped in this mix of Cobalt and the Scarlet, and I like what happens because I just touched it up here and it ran down, so there's some variation in the value. I like how this is just very sketchy. And I like the light. I think I got a good sense of light on the forms. And so, yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. So take care. All right, everyone.
Okay.
Have a good week.
Okay.
Thanks,
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.